follow me on all the other platforms as well, so you can do that if you want to. Yes, I guess that might. So tonight's broadcast is all about The Dutch House by Patchett. Every month we, on the last Monday of each month, and I think it's the last Monday of the month, who knows, on the last Monday of each month, we discuss a book, we review it, we say what we think about it, discuss the plot, the characters, the writing, and we choose a new book as well to read over the next month, up to the next last Monday of the month. So at the moment, in my bio.link/A9630, you will find a book club link where you can suggest more books for the next time. And you'll also find on my Twitter, you'll find a poll choosing between 3 possibilities for January. So if you have a look at my Twitter, you can choose which of the 3 books that are up at the moment, which of the 3 suggestions you want to read in January. So the winner of the poll in November, hello Moofy, sup. The winner of the poll in November was The Dutch House by Patchett. Now, as of about 24 hours ago, I had still about 100 pages to read. But I managed to get through it all quite comfortably. Just got home. Lovely. I managed to get through it all, this afternoon, into this evening. And, right, first of all, did I enjoy it, I suppose, is the question. Yeah, it was fine. It was all right. I'm not sure if it was really my kind of book necessarily. Yeah, it was a book that was quite interesting. It didn't have an awful lot of a message, you might say. Not an awful lot of I mean, it felt like it was a morality tale. I did finish it, Vegan Dough, yes. It felt like it was a morality tale. It felt like it was saying that the mother was, thank you, felt like the mother was, despite her going off to do good things, she was, thank you, Vegan Dough. And I mean, that's not a particularly interesting point of view. I don't think it's revelatory to say. However, back to that. And I thought the characters were fine, but the use of the wicked stepmother trope was, yeah, you know, that never. My Wi-Fi, right, okay. Shall I try switching to something else? Shall I try switching to my phone signal? Okay, hold on, I'll try switching to my phone signal. See if that improves matters at all. It's gone black. Am I back? Am I there? I'm supposed to be on my. Well, okay, right. Okay, I've switched to my phone. Right, better, good. Okay, right. So, I was saying that the wicked stepmother trope was kind of obvious and overused, and she was never really developed into another character. I mean, even at the end, I mean, I don't want to give away any spoilers, but at the end, when Andrea, the stepmother, she sort of became a different person, but not really a different character. I'm trying to avoid giving too many spoilers. That was never developed at all. She was never rounded out. She never became anybody else really, and that was a little bit strange to me. The mother, again, there was no real massive revelation in her, because you ain't gonna read the S, okay? But other people might though. There was no massive revelation in the mother. She was pretty much as she was presented throughout. However, question is, it was all written from one character's point of view. There's other people here, yes. There's other people. It was all written from one character's point of view, Danny. Right, so he was the narrator throughout. He was the only person writing the story. He could recognise that other people had different opinions. So he and his sister, Maeve, she had a different opinion of her mother and her stepmother. The two kind of had opposite versions of their mother and stepmother, sort of, or opposite strong feelings. Danny very much hated his mother, and Maeve very much hated his stepmother, and tolerated the other way, broadly, up to the end. So, but it was all written from Danny's point of view. So you have to question, and it was also sort of all written from him in the present day. So he was looking back at his feelings. The question to me was, is he reliable? I wondered if he was a reliable narrator. But anyway, I've got a couple of passages that I wanted to read. If I can find the right bits. There we go. I've got them marked. Okay. So this is fairly early on, and Danny is in New York looking at a building where his parents used to live, or looking at buildings where his parents used to live. The building looked like all the others, but to think that my mother had lived there made me feel like we had landed on the moon. It was that impossible. There were bars over the windows, and I raised my hand to touch them. Those keep out the knuckleheads, my father said. That's what your grandfather used to say. He put them on. I looked at him. My grandfather? Your mother's father. He was a fireman. A lot of nights he slept at the station, so he put bars on the windows. I don't know if he needed them, though. Not much happened back then. My fingers curled round one of the bars. Does he still live here? Who? My grandfather. I had never put those two words together before. Oh, heavens no, my father shook his head at the memory. Old Jack's been dead forever. There was something wrong with his lungs. I don't know what. Too many fires. And my grandmother? Again, the sentence astonished me. I could tell by his face this wasn't what he'd signed on for. He only wanted to drive through Brooklyn, show me the places he knew, the buildings where he'd lived. Pneumonia, not too long after Jack died. I asked him if there were any others. You don't know this? I shook my head. He peeled my fingers off the window bar, not unkindly, and turned me back towards the car where he spoke. Buddy and Tom died of flu, and Loretta died having a baby. Doreen moved to Canada with some fellow she married, and James, my best friend, he died in the war. Your mother was the baby of the family, and she outlasted all of them except maybe Doreen. I guess Doreen could still be up there in Canada. I reached down deep down to find something in myself I wasn't sure was there. Part of me was like that. Part of me was like my sister. Why did she leave? The guy she married wanted to move, he said, not understanding. He was from Canada, or got a job there. I can't remember which. I stopped walking. I didn't even bother to shake my head. I just started again. It was the central question in my life, and I had never asked it before. Why did my mother leave? My father sighed, sank his hands down in his pockets, and raised his eyes to assess the position of the clouds. Then he told me she was crazy. That was the long and the short of it. Crazy how? Crazy like taking off her coat and handing it to someone on the street who never asked her for a coat in the first place. Crazy like taking off your coat and giving it away too. But aren't we supposed to do that? I mean, we didn't do it, but wasn't it the goal? My father shook his head. No, we're not. Listen, there's no sense in wondering about your mother. Everybody's got a burden in life, and this is yours. She's gone, and you have to live with that. Evening, Sean. No, I did finish the book, yes. So this is the central question of his life. Why did his mother go? And throughout the book, it's never really explained why she went, other than she didn't like the house. Her father kind of pushed her, his father, her wife, kind of pushed him away. And be a burden, yes. She was mad, according to him. Yeah, we never really get to the bottom of that. Maybe that's because it's narrated by Danny. And maybe a child of, 5, can never be expected to understand something like that. Even as an adult, they're never expected to understand completely. Yeah. However, it's set in a time period. It's set over about 50 years or so from. It would be from the 50s onwards. That sort of time period. So the other bit that I wanted to read, I thought was interesting, and it's, well, you'll see. Okay, if you know so much about her, tell me why she left, and don't say she didn't like the wallpaper. She wanted... Maeve stopped, exhaled, her frozen breath making me think of smoke. She wanted to help people other than her family. She made a mistake. Can't you understand that? She's covered up in shame. That's why she never got in touch with us, when she came back from India. She was afraid we'd want her pretty much the same way you've treated her. We'd treat her pretty much the same way you've treated her. It's her belief that your cruelty is what she deserves. That's all right. I haven't been cruel, believe me, but it is what she deserves. Making a mistake is not giving the floorboards enough time to settle before you seal them. Abandoning your children to go to the poor of India means you're a narcissist who wants the adoration of strangers. I look at Kevin and May and I think, who would do that to them? What kind of person leaves their kids? I felt like I'd been holding in those words in my mouth since the moment I walked into the waiting room of the coronary care unit and saw her mother there. Men, Maeve said, nearly shouting. Men leave their children all the time and the world celebrates them for it. The Buddha left and Odysseus left and no one gives a shit about their sons. They set out on their noble journeys to do whatever the hell they wanted to do, and thousands of years later we're still singing about it. Our mother left and she came back and we're fine. We didn't like it, but we survived it. I don't care if you don't love her or if you don't like her, but you have to be decent to her, if for no other reason than I want you to. You owe me that. Her cheeks were red, and while it was probably just the cold, I couldn't help but worry about her heart. I said nothing. For the record, I'm sick of misery, she said. Then she turned and went back inside, leaving me to stand in the swirl of leaves and think about what I owed her. By any calculation, it was everything. And so I made the decision to change. It might seem like change was impossible, given my nature and my age, but I understood exactly what there was to lose. It was chemistry all over again. The point wasn't whether I liked it, the point was it had to be done. I think that point there that Maeve made about men leave all the time, why is it so shocking, so horrific, so unfathomable when women leave? I think that's a perfectly fair thing to say. And comparing her to Odysseus, yeah. I mean, if you look at the story of the Odyssey, It's not from the story of it's not the story of Penelope and Telemachus. It's the story of the journey of Odysseus. This sort of is the opposite way. It's the story of who was left behind, the son and the daughter and the husband who were left behind. The clashing of rigid standards, narrow viewpoints definitely. Rigid standards, well, everyone agrees, possibly except Fluffy, but everyone generally agrees that their mother was wrong to leave. But the daughter, Maeve, ultimately forgives her, while Danny doesn't forgive her ever. Not really. Is it just their personalities? Is it that that Maeve knew her a bit before she left, while Danny didn't really? And I think that there is one section near the end of the book, Multiple Expectations, yeah. There's one section near the end of the book where one of them, I think it might have been Fluffy, was considering, or it might have been Danny, considering what would their life, Maeve's and Danny's lives, been like if she'd taken them to India with her. Would it have been better at all, dragging these children around orphanages in India? Would that have been better to take them off with her? Because seemingly she couldn't have stayed. Clearly she was wrong, but don't let it eat away at you. Well, I think that might be the central point of it, Sean. Yes, I think that might be the central point, that that Maeve took the better course in ultimately forgiving her mother for the wrong and bad thing that she did. But she never forgave her stepmother. She never forgave Andrea for treating them badly. Again, it's the evil stepmother, but Danny did forgive Andrea, and never held any kind of a grudge. Well, never held as much of a grudge as Maeve did, anyway. Anyway, any of you who have read it, I believe some of you have read it at least, you could, if you're not watching at the moment, you could type in the comments what you thought, what you felt about it. I thought overall there could have been more to it, I think. I think there could have been more resolution, I think, or more of a conclusion, rather than the conclusion of people dying and lives moving on. You forgot and did not read it. Hopefully you can focus on next book and have a better understanding when it comes to discussion. Yeah, naturally. So you can still vote on my Twitter for what you want the next book to be. It's either going to be My Week with Marilyn, which is a kind of a memoir. How long will the vote be up? For another 14 minutes, Sean, another 14 minutes. So My Week with Marilyn, which is a sort of a memoir about the time somebody working on a film met Marilyn Monroe and Laurence Olivier, etc. Make other book suggestions? Yes, I'll get to that in a second. Or Reading Lolita in Tehran, which is a book about reading Western books in Iran when they're banned. So a group of people read Western books, banned books, that they're not allowed to. Or The Night Before Morning, You've already voted, okay. Night Before Morning, that is also fiction. It's an alternative history fiction where it's one of the books where the Nazis win the Second World War and they have taken over the UK. And it's a local author, local to me, who writes about this place and what happens. It's his first novel. He's an historian. You love World War II stuff. Okay. So that's My Week with Marilyn, or Reading Lolita in Tehran, or do we get Audubon's? Well, I don't know. I've not read it. Or The Night Before Morning. And you now have about 12 minutes to go onto my Twitter and vote for which one of those three you like the sound of the most. Unless you're watching on replay, in which case, bad luck. It's been chosen. What's in the lead right now? I'm not telling you. If you've already voted, you should be able to see it, I think. I think you can already see if you've voted. Yes, so to suggest more books for, not for January, but books for February now, you can go onto my book club link. So you should see the bio.link/A9630. That's not a hot link, by the way, you can't click on it. But if you type that into your browser, bio.link/A9630, which is either up there or over there, depending on how you can see it. To leave to do it, yes, you have to leave to do it. So go on to bio.link/A9630 and then go to book club link. So it goes to, it's there displayed nicely, good. Yes. So go to, log in with that, where is it? Right. So you go to BioLink there, that's what you see. That's what you get to. Then you go to book club form, right? Book club form, and then there's a short anonymous form. And the first question is, what books would you like to suggest? So fill out that form, and then tell me what books you would like to read, and then I will put up three or four that I like the sound of, and we'll choose at the end of next Monday Night Book Club. So every last Monday of the month, we discuss a book, and then we read the next one. So the next Monday Night Book Club book will be the 31st of January. So we've got 5 weeks to read the next one, whatever it is that we choose. So we've read, let's see, what have we read so far? We read The Dutch House. We've read a book called, The Night Manager, we read, which is a John le Carré spy novel. We've read Of This Place, what is it called? In This Place, Not Of It, I think it's called, which is a non-fiction book written by a number of different female prisoners in American prisons, which is very interesting. We've read Trainspotting. I'll tell you what's won. When the poll finishes, I'll tell you what's won. Yes, Trainspotting, a book about heroin addicts in Edinburgh. We've read, what else have we read? The Midnight Library. That was quite a good, fun book about where you choose the choices that you make and how they affect your life, and what happens if you can go back in time and make the different choices, how that affects things. Is that all? I think, is that all the books that we've read? I think it might be. You have Is it 8 minutes left to vote? There is one that's in the lead at the moment, but it could yet change. It could change. If you want it to. Yes, I'll let you know what I'm sure I know what Sean's voted for. It's exciting. It's exciting. Need to leave and check. Try. Well, you can. Oh, if you're on your phone, of course. Maybe you can't. Yeah. Cruel. I know. 7 minutes left. Yeah. Anyway, so the Dutch House. Would I recommend it? Would I recommend it? It's quite an easy read. Like I say, I needed to read the last 100 or so pages in the last day, but that wasn't difficult to do. It's not. I wouldn't call it particularly. I wouldn't call it particularly difficult. It's not. It's not a hard-going book. There's some interesting moments. Quite often, plot points become very as a matter of fact and very, Danny sort of announces these things that happen throughout the book in a very, this is what happened next kind of way. Don't think that Mrs. Doubtfire is a book, is it? Dear. Yeah, so there's no like, it's not a shocking read in particular, other than the shock of the way people act. It's not revelatory. It's not a thrilling book. The plot that it is, it's pretty much an ordinary story. There's nothing amazing that happens throughout the book. There's no, it's a family kind of a story. It's a story of a family. Nothing that unusual happens, other than the way that I suppose all families have moments. You believe your book is going to lose, do you? Do you? Let's have a little look. Let's see. Can I bet I can. If I have a look here. Yes. Believe your book is going to lose. That's interesting. That is interesting. I wonder what you voted for. Let's have a look. Okay. Sometimes, 5 minutes left to vote. Sometimes the votes don't come through immediately, by the way. So it might actually change upon closing. I've noticed that as when I run polls, they sometimes don't keep continually updating themselves, either for me or for other people who can see the running results if you've already voted. Strange. So would I recommend it? Would I recommend? Yeah, I guess I would. Again, it's not the sort of book I would ordinarily have chosen to read, but I'm fairly glad I did read it. I thought it was quite interesting. Is the Hitler book winning? I'm not telling you what has won. You can have a look yourself. If you have already voted, you can have a look and check on that yourself. There is 4 minutes to go on the poll. Says we can do 4 minutes to go. So each time I put up the poll, they're all books that I'm willing to read, all books that I'm happy to read. So I was always happy to read this one. I wouldn't have put it up unless I had been. I voted for the Iran one. I'm guessing you voted for Marilyn. Interesting. Okay. Well, okay, you might not be interested in A, but as with all votes, you should always vote, even if it's just to keep your least interested one out. Even if it's the one that you want least to win, it doesn't win. Does that make sense? As with all votes, that's always true. You might not like any of the options, but almost always you can separate them out into preferences, I find. That's what I reckon. Yeah, so, yeah, as I say, I was always willing to read this book. I wouldn't have ordinarily chose it, but quite glad that it did win, or happy enough that it did win anyway. I'm content with this, and yeah, I'm pleased that I read it. It was quite interesting. It was different. I think there's something to be said for reading books that you wouldn't otherwise ordinarily choose, and that's part of the point of doing this. It makes me and anybody else who is interested read a book that they might not have chosen. You read a book once, did you? What was it? What book did you read? So the picture, by the way, the cover picture, supposedly this is a portrait of Maeve, the lead character or the narrator's sister, for perspective on how other people view the world. Yes, absolutely. So this is supposedly a portrait of Maeve when she was 10, and take a portrait painted in the Dutch house, which is the background there, the swallows, and she says that the painter never really meant to paint her, but she fell in love with him as she was being painted, because she says you can't have somebody look at you for 2 weeks without falling in love with them, which is an interesting point of view. So that supposedly is Maeve in love with the painter. What do you think? Interesting. I'm not Niles Crane, no. But I am listening. Leaflet. What was the leaflet about? Has the poll closed yet? Not yet. 1 minute to go. 1 minute left. Maeve. Is it very Maeve? She looks about 11, but she's supposed to be 10 in this. Does she look like she's in love with the painter? Difficult to know. Yeah, so would I recommend it? Yes, I would say overall, it's quite a good book to read, quite interesting. I'm not sure it's gripping exactly. As I say, I kind of stopped reading for a while at page 200 or so, whatever it was. But once I picked it up again, I went through it all in 24 hours. Not difficult to read. It's quite interesting. I wanted to know what happened. That's for sure. I wanted to get to the end of it. Yeah. But I'm not sure that all the characters are particularly well drawn, if you see what I mean. Have you tried reading upside down? I can read upside down. Right. Poll has closed. Aha. Interesting. And we have, in fact, a tie. We have a tie. My Week with Marilyn and The Night Before Morning are tied. What? Yes. Interesting. So obviously I've got the casting vote. How did that happen? It's true. Look. Can you see? Tied. Flip a coin. No, I have the casting vote, so I will decide. Obviously, I can't vote in my own polls, but if there's a tie, I get to choose. What shall we go for then? Well, because I've already got the book, and I haven't read it yet, I'm going to go for The Night Before Morning. Because, again, not necessarily because I would want to read this book, because it's a subject that has been done before, I'm sure. But I do want... I've read other books by Alistair Moffat, and I want to see how he handles a novel. And because it is set where I live, or set very near where I live. So that's quite interesting, and it's written by somebody who knows the area very well. So I want to see what it's like. So we will have the Hitler book, as Doe called it, The Night Before Morning. How many members does Andrew's book club have? Well, I mean, as many people as wish to come and go, I think. Yay. Who else is going to read it? Reddy Jenny's going to read it, I'm fairly sure. That's what you vote for. Yeah. So I think, actually, some people who enjoy watching my walking broadcasts, where I am, going to the castles that I know and the nature that I show, enjoy seeing the places around here. I think maybe some of those people might like to read it, to get another perspective on the places they might be sort of familiar with. Is it a local author? Yes, Alistair Moffat. Absolutely. Yes. Alistair Moffat. Let's show you. Alistair Moffat. I think, was he born in... Kelso. Born in Kelso. Former rector of St Andrews. And director of the Edinburgh Festival Fringe. Post the title on Twitter. Yes, I will. But you should be able to see it in the results anyway. I'll show you the cover of the book. Night Before Midnight, Alistair Moffat, images there. That is the book there. Go away. There. The person who named the most remote settlement on Earth was born in Kelso, named it Edinburgh of the Seven Seas. Really? Born in Kelso. The most remote settlement on Earth. Well, William Glass. I used to know William Glass. I don't suppose it was him, though. Edinburgh of the Seven Seas. I might look into that. I'm not convinced. Because the most remote settlement on Earth is in... is it in very far north of Canada? I have a feeling. This was a full box quiz question. But yes, Night Before Morning. Night Before Morning, not Night Before Midnight. Night Before Morning. By Alistair Moffat. It's Antarctica. I'm not sure. So that is in Edinburgh. That's the... what's it called? The monument which is up on Calton Hill. Come on. Why is it not responding? Yes, okay. So yes, that is up on Calton Hill, and you can see the Nazi emblem, and you can see... what are they? Dorniers, I think. Tristan da Cunha. Tristan da Cunha is remote. It's a remote island, It might. I have a feeling it might be the most remote island. Yes. Okay, and that is Alistair Moffat. There he is. So there you go. So there we are. That's The Dutch House by Anne Patchett. Yeah, interesting book. Would recommend to read it. It's not going to blow you away. It's not going to amaze you with its plot twists. Yeah. Looks quite sober for the night before morning, considering he is from Scotland, yes. What are your favourite books? Ooh, that's a difficult one. I do like quite a wide variety of books. Yeah, I'll have to think about that. It's difficult. Anything related to Nazism would be sobering. One would think so. Yes, that's a very good point. I wonder what happens. I wonder what happens. But essentially, the Nazis take over, and the hero of the book fights against them, I believe. And the bit that I read, I just read a page or two. When I got the book, I read a page or two of it. And the hero is travelling up to St Andrews, and by coincidence, the road he was using was a few miles away from my house. Not far away, a real road with very recognisable features on it for me. So it should be very interesting, the next one. So that'll be fun. As if the Battle of Britain was lost. I believe the premise is the Nazis developed nuclear weapons and won the war. I don't know if they dropped a bomb on London. I think it might be that, or maybe it was just the threat of it. I'm not sure, but I think that's the premise. Yes. Obviously, we'll find out when we start reading. It's not a big book, by the way. It's not long and massive, so it should be easy to read. So, yes, there we are. So we'll come back again on the last Monday of January, the 31st of January. Werner von Braun figures it out. Maybe he figured out the rocketry. Maybe, what was it? Anyway, we'll find out. We'll find out what happens. And we'll discuss it on the 31st of November. Wonder if W.H. Smith has it. It may do. You can try W.H. Smith. Or, Sean, there is, in Selkirk, there's the little book behind the Walter Scott statue, in the courthouse place, little bookshop there. So you can have a look there and see if they have it or they could order it. Or there's the one in Melrose called the Reading Room on the High Street in Melrose. There's a nice woman who works there who would be very happy to get it for you. Or there's W.H. Smith. Or a public library. Hello, Margaret. Yes. Always libraries, yes. Always good places to get books. You're getting yours from the Forest Bookstore. Okay, fair enough. The Forest Bookstore. Yes, libraries and independent bookshops in Selkirk. Yes, charity shops as well. I don't think this will appear in any charity shops yet, because it's probably too new. But yeah, always, first port of call is always independent bookshops or libraries before you go to the big multinationals, and then of course the tax dodging bastards at Amazon are the the last resort. Yes, ask for the Hitler book. I'm sure they'll know what you mean. Yes, I do have an Amazon wish list, absolutely. Where you find your copy? Fair enough. Good stuff. Yeah, so there we are. That's that. That's another Monday Night Book Club. Pretty good bookstore, okay. Okay. Incidentally, why Sheffield? I'll just leave that question dangling there. Why Sheffield? Right. Thank you for watching again, everybody. Why Sheffield what? Why indeed? You're so confused. Yes, me too. Don't forget, if you wish to contribute, I mean, I already have this book, of course, but maybe for the next one, who knows. If you wish to contribute to me affording to buy new books, you can always send me a bit of cash with awards here or sponsorships here, or you can use my Buy Me a Coffee or my coffee.com, which you find in the bio.link, which is either up there or over there. A philosophical question. Yes, why Sheffield? Yes, I think that's... Yes, buy me a coffee, or PayPal, I suppose, if you want to. I need a bookshelf if anyone wants to contribute, thanks. Okay, yes, you can buy the... Which Don? Which one, do you mean? Whatever, don't mind. I think possibly coffee is... it might be the most efficient one. And with that, you can set up a recurring, monthly donation with coffee, which is quite good. I don't need to set up anything for that, and I don't need to offer anything either. Did you always tell me to use coffee? Did you? Don't recall that. But it's KO-FI, by the way. But you'll find all of that in the in my bio link. Okay, all right. If you say so, I'll believe you. Now, I still have to do a small amount of exercise this evening before midnight. So I shall see you next month, the 31st, about 10 o'clock, maybe a little bit later, maybe about 11. Yeah. And I will put up another poll. Hello, Stevie Wonder, I'm just leaving. I'll put up another poll that day-ish for the next choice for February. I will be back before then. I will do other things. I will probably, from... I do not have OnlyFans. What would you like to see on OnlyFans, Ravecat1? What would you like to see there? Valentine's book. What? Valentine's book? Oh, right, I see what you mean. Maybe. Might have a kind of a romantic book. Shall we have a romantic choice for February? Yeah. Romantic / erotic. Did you say you're taking... No, I didn't say I'm taking a break, no. I said I will see you next week for the next Monday Night Book Club, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to be doing stuff before then. I was just about to say, in fact... Yes, don't get your hopes up. Let's have a look at my calendar. I will probably... I don't know about next Monday. Maybe next Monday I'll be back in the potting shed having breakfast and sketching. Believe for a second you came back to erotica. Listen, all of my broadcasts are erotic to some people, but yes, maybe for February, maybe for Valentine's Day's month, we'll have a romantic / erotic book. Who knows? So maybe Monday I'll be having breakfast and sketching. Monday the 3rd, but probably for Thursday I'll be back reading Moby Dick. Did you find out? I have a microphone. Well, I have a microphone in mind that I will look at for sure I haven't got a new microphone, but I might get a new microphone. I mean, by then, I suspect I will have a new microphone by Monday the 6th for Moby Dick and lunch in the Cloud House Cafe. Sausages. Sent a list. Sent a list? Oh, right. Oh, yes. Okay. As for the rest of this week, I'm sure I'll be out places. I might go somewhere. Who knows? I'm not back at work until the new year. I was told that I had to take off a particular amount of time, so I might go somewhere. I might not. I'll see what the weather's like. See if it starts snowing. Who knows? Who knows? What's life without a little bit of unpredictability, eh? So, no stabilisation yet. No, I noticed. Doe was complaining earlier. Thought I hated work anyway. Who doesn't hate work? But yes, I was told I had to take time off. I mean, I do all the work that I'm required to do, and probably more than I'm required to do. Buy a gimbal. Gimbals look stupid. It's bad enough holding a phone out in front of me. Yeah. But anyway, right. So, thank you for watching and reading The Dutch House, if you did. As I said, if you're watching on replay, you can put a loose signal. All right. Yes, thank you for all your comments and your questions, etc. If you don't want to read The Night Before Morning, is that right? Then read other books. Read something else. Read something that takes your fancy instead, and we can discuss that if you want to. Tell us what you thought of whatever book you're reading next month. But I will see you next time. Go back to Paris and Emily. Yes, that's a book, isn't it? I think you can read that. All right. See you next time, everybody. Cheery bye. Yes, thought so. Have a nice Tuesday now.